Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn how to use artificial intelligence as a professional tool. You do not need to know how to code. We do not need to understand computers deeply. We just need to know how to talk to machine clearly. Let's say take an example. Like think of AI like a very smart intern, and it knows a lot of facts. It can write well, but it does not know what you want unless you tell it. Today, we are going to build a training simulator. Imagine you work in a company that trains new employees. We want to teach new designers, let's say lawyers or journalists or any kind of other designers, how to handle a difficult client. So we will use AI to create that difficult client for us to practice with. So here we are using three professional skills we'll be using, which will be clarity, which will be tell the AI exactly what we want, and then iterations, refining our instructions step by step. Ethics, making sure we don't create something harmful or illegal. And we have three simple rules today. So first rule will be to tell the AI who it is. So in this rule, we'll be giving it a job to the AI. Then another rule, it will be telling it to tell the AI what you want it to produce. So let's say it should be a list or conversation or table. And another one, it will be like check the AI's work. So we'll be checking the AI's work because we cannot trust AI blindly. Apart from this, let's say in the step one, we are going to start this first step. In the step one, we'll be doing creating the base, which will be generating a client type for our whole simulator, which we'll be creating, training simulator. For that, we'll be using three format. So let's say first we need idea. We want the AI to suggest three different kinds of difficult clients. We need variety. If I just type like, let's say, give me difficult clients, the AI might give me boring or offensive results. It might give me a stereotype like the angry woman or the cheap foreigner. That is bad. That is discriminatory. We are professionals, so we do not want that. I'm going to write very clear instructions and I'll tell the AI. So that the format which we'll be using it will be the context, and this is for a training simulator for designing professionals. Another formatting we'll be using another technique we'll be using is a formatting technique, which will be I want a structured list with specific details. And the third one will be the goal, exactly which goal we want to achieve. Like I need realistic scenarios, not a cartoon villains. Apart from this, let's say I'm going to write a clear instructions, and in that process, what options will be going to do it. Let's say the situation. We'll be giving the situation. This is for a training game for designers. What I want, three characters type with specific details, and the rule. The character must be difficult because of how they act, not because of who they are. Let's say their gender, race, or age. So we will be giving this format and these scenarios for creating a whole prompt for writing and developing a first step, which will be creating the base, generating client types. So let's start with creating the first prompt. So you can see here the what we'll be doing, which technique we'll be using is that we'll be using a technique of three steps. First will be role. We'll be giving a role to the uh, AI that hey AI, you are a professional trainer who creates role playing games for companies. And the second one will be the situation we'll be providing it because AI needs to know what actually situation we want for those role which we are giving to the AI. I'm building a training simulator for junior designers. They need to practice talking to difficult clients. Then we'll be giving a task to the AI, which will be please create three different types of difficult clients a designer might meet. For each type, tell me the name, which will be a professional label for this type. Another one will be the personality, three or four bullet points describing how they behave. And we're giving the example of the professional level also, as micro managers, or you can give any other examples if you like. What they say, like what these professionals say, professional level type says, two to three typical sentences they might say, and why they are hard to work with, why this type of professional level type is hard to work with, which will be like what problems do they cause for the designers. And at the end, we will be giving ethical rule for the AI because we don't want AI to give a response with unethical manner. So we'll be giving the characters must be based on behavior, not a stereotype about gender, ethnicity, or age. We are teaching people to handle bad behavior, not to judge people's identity. So we are telling the AI not to give some responses which judges the identity of different peoples because it can be offensive for other clients. So in the step two, we'll be we'll be doing it, bridging the character to the life. So in the step two, we will give, let's say, an example like a silent judge, where we will be having a menu and we need to pick it quietly from this. So in this second step, we will be using our goal. So our goal now in second step is to turn the AI into an actor. So let's say we want the AI to stop being a helpful assistant and now become this client, exactly the same client which will be using this, or one of the clients which will be using this simulator, training simulator. We will do this in three small steps, and the first one will be, let's say, we tell the AI you are no longer an AI and you are Mr. Events. And from here, we will be telling the AI work as a client. So we also tell it the situation. We are in a meeting to discuss a contract. We give the client a goal and a mood. So completely a client based approach. So in this, and in a legal note, like why we are making up a fake client is like, why don't we just tell the AI to act like a real client we had the last week? Because that real client has a right to privacy, so we cannot give them a real. So we are creating a fake client, which is Mr. Events. Uh, if you use the real name or their real project details or their private conversations, you are breaking confidentiality agreements and privacy laws. So we always use the fake characters for the training purposes. So any kind of simulator we are going to make in this, we'll be using fake characters about this. In the prompt one, setting the stage, we'll be set the stage like who is the AI. So we will be stop being an AI assistant. From now on, you are a you're playing a character named Mr. Evans, and you are a business owner who hired a freelance designer to create a new logo. The situation will be that we are in a meeting to discuss the contract, and let's say the student, who you are, you can give your name. I'm playing the designer. You are the client, and your personality would be you are impatient. You do not like long meetings, and you like designers overcomplicate things. And here you want a world-class logo, but you do not want to play a lot. So we are giving a personalities. So we'll be testing these all prompts one by one in our DeepSeek further. You want the project done in 2 weeks, which is too fast. You want unlimited changes until you are happy. You refuse to fill out any forms or questionnaires. Start the conversation now. Greet the designer coldly and say you are very busy. Prompt 2. Defining the personality. How does the AI talk? Update to your role as Mr. Evans. Please adjust. So we are giving the first prompt, which was like that, bridging the characters, setting the stage. We set at the stage. Second prompt would be defining the personality. How does the AI talk? So update to your role as Mr. Evans. Please adjust how you speak. Act with the following details. Speaking style, we use short sentences. Do not use design jargons. And mood, you are not shouting. You are calm. So we are refining the personality about this clients, about the AI, like how AI should behave. And special tricks will be giving that when asked for your opinion, say I will know it when I see it, or just make it look expensive. And when asked about the budget or timeline, say, let's not worry about that now. So we are specifying what need to reply in this kind of personality refinement. So let's try to test the first one, which we created it here in the first step, which we have uh, used for generating the AI's role playing system. So let's try and let's go ahead and try to open the DeepSeek. Okay, so here you go here and try to enter it. Let's see how it works. So it acts as a micromanager, and the personality it gives what they say. They say, "I'm going to jump into the Figma file." So its work is acting not as a character, but it's acting as a let's say experienced person who can help the client. But this is just like not exact real like simulated characters, but just a behavior that you need to work as a way to behave like this. So we have given you are a professional trainer who creates role playing, and this is creating it is performing good. You can see the output, the personality, what they say, why they are hard to work with. So it's giving every options and then every options personality, what they say, and why they're hard. So they're giving this kind of outcomes, which is much nicer. But we are refining it in another prompt, which is in the step two. We are trying to fully create um, a real, like simulated fake client, and then we are asking the same thing to the AI. So let's say I go back to, and then we enter it. Let's say how this reacts. So they're giving Mr. Events, check watch immediately as you sit down. Let's keep this quick. I have a call in 15 minutes. You are a designer, right? Look, I need the logo. I don't have time. So you can see that it is not behaving as an AI assistant, but it is behaving like an event, like a real fake person. So this is the second prompt, which is saying that you are the situation, your personality, you are impatient, your main demands are this, and start the conversation on greet the designer coldly and say you are very busy. So that's how it's saying, Mr. Evans, check watch immediately as you sit down. Let's keep it up, and I have a call in 15 minutes. So it's pretending like he's busy. So what do you need from me to get this started? So technically, AI is also giving an opinion that what you need to go more further. So he's right now busy. So let's say in the second prompt, how it is going to work. For in the second prompt, we are going to refine the personality. So here, update to your roles to Mr. Evans. We are going to check how they are going to behave after refining their behavior. So let's say this behavior was very impatient, very not overcomplicated things, not good behavior. But right now we are after refining the behavior, how they behave. So once we refine the behavior, Mr. Event Science glances at phone. Look, I don't have all day. You designers love to make things complicated. It's logo, just a small picture. My nephew knows computers, and he said this is easy. So you understand, this is how uh, it changes the personality from being a so harsh personality and have some demanding personality to very good personality and like not shouting, very calm, very cold, very sarcastic. So you can see that how the responses are very good. So you can manipulate the AI so responses according to the how prompt you're designing. This is very important to how you design the prompt. In the prompt 3, we are adding the twist for this simulator training where we are changing the story. So we are going to update to your role as a Mr. Evans. Here in the prompt 3, we are going to say, uh, and let's say, for example, in real life conversation changes. So a client might start calm and then suddenly get angry. So we need to prepare our students for that. So we are going to add a plot twist. We will tell the AI halfway through the meetings, the client suddenly stands up and threatens to leave. This tests the student's ability to stay calm under pressure. So we are trying to create those kind of scenarios, which in the real life, a client might start with calm and then change, then how it can manage this thing. So it's like a changing story. So we are going to add this twist. So in this, we are going to add the update to we'll be updating to the role of Mr. Evans. We are now in the middle of negotiation. So a designer, so the student has just told you that the project will last at least 4 weeks and that extra changes will cost extra money. So the reactions would be suddenly you act offended. You accuse the designer of being difficult and greedy. You say you will just use a cheap online logo maker instead, like Canva. And then you pause and wait. So we are giving a more twisting and changing story kind of reactions to the AI. And we are telling the goal of the AI is that to test if the designer panics or lowers their voice price or if they stay professional. So let's test this thing to um, AI. So here we go here, we just paste it, we enter. Now you can see the response is Mr. Evans leans back, crosses arms, and stares at you coldly. 4 weeks extra money for changes. So let's out a short, dry laugh unavailable. So you can see the responses have more storytelling, more let's say more changed into variations. So you can see that it has a twist also here. You can see the twists. Twist is that you know what? My nephew showed me Canva the other day, 10 minutes free. Maybe I'll just do it myself and save the headache. So you see that there was a twist that if you say you will just use a cheap online logo maker instead Canva, and you accuse designer of being difficult and greedy, but here he's saying that no, difficult, greedy. I came here for a simple logo, and you are already nickel and diming me. You know what, my nephew. So he's changing the story, and then okay, I will be doing it. So he's telling like that. So this is how the responses changes with the AI if you write the prompt in a different way. So in the step three, we'll be turning the conversation into a lesson. So fully whole conversation will be developing into a lesson. So in this scenario, we have a messy conversations, but a raw chat log is hard to study. So we want to turn this into a clean teaching document, and we are going to ask the AI to analyze the conversations and put it into the table. This is called controlling the output. So we want three columns here. First column would be client's line, what client said, and what second column would be what a bad student might say, which is a mistake. Third column would be what a good student should say, the ideal response, and what it works, like why it works. So this helps us learn about both bad and good examples. So that's why we are trying to use it as a conversations into a lesson. And let's start with the task. So the task we are going to give the AI is like based on the conversation we just had with Mr. Evans, please create a training document. Format would be like a table with the three columns. Column one, client's line, quote of specific rude or difficult line from Mr. Evans. Column two would be common mistakes. Describe a typical reactions from a new designer that would make things worse. Column three would be ideal response with reason. Let's say describe the best professional response and explain why it works in a simple terms. So let's try, and we're asking it to create. Please provide 4 rows in the column in the table, whole table. So let's go here and let's try to test on the our DeepSeek model. So you see here is the training document based on the negotiations with the Mr. Evans. So this is how they're responding. There's a client's line, column mistakes, ideal response reasons, just like we were asked here. So what we line, client's line, we need common mistakes and we need ideal response with the reason. And then here is giving, look, I don't have all the day. It's a logo, just a small picture, and then it's giving common mistake, getting defensive about the craft. So you can see the client's line is more defensive of the craft, and the ideal response would be acknowledge and redirect the business rules. So let's say ideal response could be, I understand you're busy, so I will be brief. It's just a picture. It's not just a picture. It's the first thing your customer sees. So I want to make sure it brings you money, not just looks nice. So it's giving more comfort with the response, more trust, more hope that okay, everything will be fine. We are going to work. So this works because it respects his times and speaks his language, and rather than just arguing about art. So you can see this is how it's responding, and this is very good. This is very good. It's turning it as a conversations into a like full lesson and explaining the models, like explaining the clients about this. So this was the part one about the technical parts. About the another one will be doing about methodological part, how we can use the methodology, what we think about this methodology we are using it. So in the methodological block. So in part two, we will be going to do methodological block. In methodological block, we are trying to uh, grade this assignment. So we'll be knowing how I would or we would be grading this assignment. So in the question one, what are the grading criteria? So if I were grading this assignment, I wouldn't just look at the final table. I would look at how the students got there. I would use three criteria. First will be clarity of prompts, which will be 30%. And we'll be thinking about, did the student write clear, detailed instructions, or did they write vague ones like give me a client? High score students to goes to the students who specify the context, the tone, the format. So if you have more better formatting, more better inputs, so more explanations about what you want. So this shows they understand that AI needs clear communication. Second would be like iteration and patience, which will be also a 30%. So did the student just accept the first answer, or did they go back and refine it? Third, then I want to also see the evidence of prompt 2 and prompt 3. So if I have to like grade this assignment, I will be like asking the good question, good students questions like look at the first attempt and says, no, that's not realistic enough. Let's just adjust the mood or the tricks. This shows they are directing the AI, not the in other way around. Third one will be critical thinking, which will be 40%, which is very important. In this will be just this is most important because in step 3 the AI gives ideal responses, and did the student just copy them or did they question them? So because you always told you that do not take the responses from the AI just like that, you always try to proofread it, ask again like if they can make it more better or different way. So this is always a scope of betterment into better response into the AIs. Did they notice if the AI suggested something unethical, or did they check if the advice fits their professional code of conduct? A student who submits a perfect table but has no critical comments has not learned the lesson. They are just copying and pasting. So I would be not satisfied if they're doing like that. But if they are trying to be more reasonable, trying to ask and trying to proofread, then definitely it will be more a better percentage of grading they can get. Question two is like what reflections questions would I ask the students? Uh, the reflection question which I'll be asked is like I would ask the students to attach a short reflection to 200 to 300 words answering these three questions. First would be describe a moment when the AI did not do what you wanted and how did you change your prompt to fix it. And why this question? This question is because it proves they actually did the work. If they can describe a specific moment of failure or correction, they probably didn't iterate. It tests their understanding of the process. Look at the ideal response. Second will be look at the ideal response column. Pick one piece of advice you disagree with or think would be risky in real life and explain why. So this question is because this ensures they are not just accepting the AI as a source of truth. It forces them to apply their own ethics and common sense. So it checks for the problem of trusting the AI too much. Third one would be like if you had to run this simulation for a client from a different culture. Example, let's say client from Japan or Brazil. How would you change the prompt to avoid stereotypes? So in this case, the assessments would be to understanding of the ethics and cultural sensitivity, and it pushes them to think about bias in AI and how they, as the human director, are responsible for preventing it. So different locations, different countries can have different kinds of ethic values and ethnicities and different kinds of more other options which AI can be used for making improvements. Question three would be how would I expand this into a bigger project? This is the very important question, how we can do it. So to turn this single task into a full sprint project, I would add these elements. First, peer review and live testing. So students swap their prompts with a partner. Partner A runs partner B's prompts. Partner B watches silently. They give feedback on how realistic the clients felt. This makes it collaborative. And the second one will be the legal check for law students. And we add a step where the student uses the AI to analyze the conversations for legal risk. For example, prompt based on this dialogue, did not, the client say anything that could change the contract terms? And they need to explain, imply the contracts. So also they have to explain the contracts. What were the contracts implied in that? Third will be the debriefing document. So we ask students to write a final reflection on ethics. They use the AI to research manipulations in negotiations and then compare it to their own ideal responses to ensure they are not teaching. people how to lie or trick clients. Visualization data also is very good options for the any designers. The table from step 3 could be turned into a visual flowcharts instead of just a table or an infographic or for a training manual. And this adds a layer of professional deliverable creations showing how text can become a visual asset. And also it's more eye-catching and more interesting. It can make students uh, more interested into the outcomes of the AI's responses when you're using a charts and graphs for representations or visualizations. Thank you. And this was the task one about the presenting the full task one, and I'll be going for the task two next. Thank you.